When my son Bradley Morrison stood in my cramped kitchen doorway last Tuesday morning and tossed a crumpled $5 bill onto my worn Formica counter, while saying, "Here, Mom, this should cover your groceries for the week. Maybe try the dollar store this time, since you're always complaining about money being tight," he had no idea he was casually dismissing Dr. Eleanor Morrison, the anonymous founder and sole controlling shareholder of Morrison Capital Ventures, a $47 million private equity empire that had been quietly funding his $2.3 million Marin County mansion, his children's elite private school tuition at Branson Academy, his wife Jennifer's luxury lifestyle coordination, and whose sophisticated wealth management systems had been systematically building his expected $5.2 million inheritance through 4 decades of strategic investment, while he treated me like a burden whose financial struggles embarrassed his professional image as a successful tech executive, never knowing that his cruel dismissal would trigger the most expensive lesson about respect and family gratitude that any ungrateful son had ever received. When the financially struggling elderly mother he humiliated with pocket change turned out to control every aspect of his family's prosperity and could eliminate his entire financial future with a single signature that would redirect his inheritance to charitable organizations that actually understood the value of compassion and elderly dignity. Make sure to hit that like button if you've ever been underestimated by family members who forgot where their success came from. Drop a comment about your worst experience with children who took their parents' sacrifices for granted, and subscribe because you won't believe what happens when entitled adult children discover that the broke parent they dismiss actually controls their entire financial destiny. The modest one-bedroom apartment in Richmond, where I've lived for the past 6 years, appears to visiting family members as exactly what you'd expect from a retired community college math instructor who depends on Social Security and a small pension to cover basic living expenses, like rent, PG&E utilities that fluctuate between $100 and $240 depending on the season, and the generic medications from CVS that my son Bradley reluctantly helps coordinate while constantly reminding me that elderly care becomes more expensive every year. And working families have to make tough choices about supporting parents who didn't plan adequately for retirement and now need assistance with basic financial management. The apartment complex itself, built in 1987, and showing its age through peeling exterior paint and a small kidney-shaped pool that's frequently out of service, perfectly reinforce every assumption about limited housing options for seniors on fixed incomes who can't afford the luxury retirement communities in Marin County or the upscale senior living facilities in San Francisco, where Bradley occasionally suggests I might be more comfortable with people in my own age group and financial situation. The building's residents include other retirees, single mothers working multiple jobs, and community college students who share my apparent economic circumstances and create the perfect camouflage for someone whose actual net worth exceeds the GDP of several small nations. My daily routine, as observed by Bradley and Jennifer during their increasingly brief and obligatory monthly visit, perfectly reinforces every assumption about fixed income limitations and social isolation that prevents elderly people from understanding contemporary financial markets and modern wealth management strategies that govern today's investment landscape and technology sector dynamics. They see me every Sunday morning at my small dinette table, methodically clipping grocery store coupons from the Richmond Times-Dispatch and organizing them in a worn manila envelope labeled savings. In my careful handwriting, creating detailed shopping lists that prioritize generic brands and markdown specials that suggest someone whose financial decisions revolve around saving $250 on store-brand laundry detergent and choosing between name-brand cereal and the utility bill. The prescription medication routine that dominates my bathroom counter and kitchen table provides additional evidence of my supposed financial constraints and health-related expenses that Bradley treats as burdensome obligations rather than normal family responsibility. The weekly pill organizer with its 7 compartments, each carefully filled with generic medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, and arthritis, sits prominently on my kitchen counter next to discount pharmacy receipts and Medicare paperwork that Jennifer helps me navigate while explaining the importance of understanding your coverage limitations and out-of-pocket expenses that can really add up for seniors on restricted budgets. The grocery shopping expeditions that form the centerpiece of my carefully maintained facade occur every Thursday morning at the Richmond Safeway, where I arrive precisely when senior citizen discounts become effective, and spend considerable time comparing unit prices on items like generic peanut butter, store-brand wheat bread, and the marked-down produce that other budget-conscious shoppers ignore because of minor cosmetic imperfections. The shopping cart that I push through the aisles contains exactly the items you'd expect from someone calculating every purchase: canned soup on sale for $0, and the day-old bakery items reduced to half price that provide both nutrition and evidence of careful financial planning throughout retirement years. The checkout process itself reinforces every assumption about elderly financial management and technology limitations that prevent seniors from understanding modern banking systems and digital payment methods. I pay for groceries using cash counted carefully from a worn zippered purse, occasionally using paper coupons that require the cashier's assistance and patience while other customers wait behind me, creating exactly the kind of mild social awkwardness that younger generations associate with elderly people who haven't adapted to contemporary retail efficiency and automated payment systems that streamline transactions for tech-savvy consumers and busy professionals. The 2015 Honda Civic that I drive, with its practical beige exterior and basic interior maintained through do-it-yourself care and discount oil changes from Valvoline Instant Oil Change, reinforces Bradley and Jennifer's comfortable assumption that I'm living paycheck to paycheck while depending on family assistance for major expenses like automotive repairs, medical copay, and the emergency situations that exceed my supposed limited budget and technological understanding of modern banking and investment coordination. 0 zeros and miles on the odometer and a few minor cosmetic issues like worn seat fabric and a small crack in the passenger side mirror suggests someone who maintains her vehicle carefully but can't afford luxury upgrades or frequent replacements that younger professionals take for granted. The automotive maintenance records that I keep in the glove compartment, meticulously documented in a small spiral notebook with entries like oil change, provide perfect documentation of budget-conscious vehicle care that assumes every expense matters and must be tracked for tax purposes and personal financial planning. The roadside assistance membership through AAA Basic rather than Premium, the liability-only insurance coverage rather than comprehensive protection, and my preference for generic automotive fluids rather than manufacturer-specified products all contribute to the image of someone whose transportation decisions prioritize basic functionality over performance, comfort, status demonstration. What my family sees during their dutiful visits is exactly what I've carefully cultivated since my husband Robert's death 8 years ago: a sweet but slightly overwhelmed elderly woman who struggles with smartphone technology and online banking, needs help understanding Medicare paperwork that grows more complicated every year, and whose greatest social activities involve volunteering at the Richmond Public Library's literacy program every Tuesday and teaching adult learners basic reading skills, while building community connections with other retired educators who share stories about simpler times when children respected their parents and families took care of each other through difficult economic periods and social changes. The technology limitations that I display during family visits provide crucial evidence of generational gaps and learning challenges that prevent elderly people from understanding contemporary financial management and investment opportunities that younger professionals navigate effortlessly through smart apps and online platforms. When Bradley attempts to show me how to use online banking or mobile payment systems, I respond with appropriate confusion and resistance, asking repeated questions about security concerns and expressing preference for traditional paper statements and in-person banking that requires trips to the local Bank of America branch, where tellers recognize me and provide the personal service that older customers appreciate and depend on for financial guidance. The social media absence that characterizes my supposed technological limitations extends to email use, where I maintain a basic Gmail account that I check infrequently and use primarily for communication with the library volunteer coordinator and occasional messages from distant relatives who assume I need simple, clear instructions for basic computer tasks. The absence of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or any other social networking presence reinforces assumptions about elderly isolation and limited understanding of contemporary communication methods that younger generations use for professional networking, social coordination, and business development throughout their careers and personal relationships. The image of gentle mom Eleanor with her thrift store cardigans from Goodwill, sensible walking shoes from Payless before they closed, and reading glasses purchased at CVS Pharmacy has served me perfectly in maintaining operational security while protecting the private equity empire that Bradley and Jennifer have never suspected, determines their mortgage payments, educational opportunity, and ability to maintain their affluent Marin County lifestyle that they assume reflects Bradley's professional success as a senior software engineer at Metacorp Technology, a prestigious Silicon Valley company specializing in artificial intelligence and machine learning applications for enterprise clients throughout the tech industry. The fashion choices that I maintain during family visits and public appearances reinforce every stereotype about elderly women who shop primarily at discount retailers and choose clothing based on comfort and durability rather than style or social positioning. The polyester blouses from Walmart, elastic waist pants from Target's senior section, and practical cardigans that provide warmth without requiring expensive dry cleaning create exactly the visual impression that supports assumptions about limited discretionary income and reduced attention to personal appearance that young generations sometimes associate with aging and social withdrawal. The beauty routine that I maintain emphasizes low-cost drugstore products and minimal styling that suggests someone whose priorities focus on basic grooming rather than cosmetic enhancement or fashion coordination. The hair appointments at Supercuts rather than upscale salons, the basic manicures at discount nail shops rather than luxury spas, and the makeup routine that relies on CoverGirl and Maybelline rather than department store brands, all contribute to an image of practical simplicity that camouflages sophisticated wealth management and professional networking that requires entirely different presentation standards and social positioning strategies. The Richmond apartment that Bradley dismisses as adequate housing for someone on a fixed income who needs simple accommodations and community services actually serves as my Northern California command center for operations that extend far beyond retirement activities and senior community involvement. The modest living room with its cheerful displays of family photographs, Bradley's UC Berkeley computer science graduation, and Jennifer's real estate license celebration from my late husband Robert's engineering achievements from his 30-year career at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory working on classified defense projects, conceals sophisticated wealth management coordination systems where I oversee investment portfolios, direct venture capital funding across 16 Bay Area startups, and manage the financial networks that have made me one of Northern California's most influential but invisible technology investors and philanthropic leaders. The family photographs themselves tell a carefully curated story, reinforces assumptions about a grandmother whose greatest pride comes from her successful family members who've made something of themselves in the competitive Bay Area technology sector, despite their humble beginnings as the children of a community college math instructor and a government engineer who worked in classified research and development. Bradley's computer science degree hangs in a simple frame, next to Jennifer's real estate achievements and Robert's commendations from Lawrence Livermore, all positioned where visitors can see them immediately upon entering my living room while missing the sophisticated technology infrastructure hidden throughout the apartment. The dining area, which doubles as my workspace for personal paperwork and volunteer coordination, contains what appears to be a basic home office setup with a simple desk from IKEA, a desktop computer that Bradley helped me purchase from Best Buy in 2019, and filing cabinets that family members assume contain routine documents like Medicare statements, tax returns, and volunteer schedules from the library literacy program. The computer itself, a Dell Inspiron with modest specifications that any budget-conscious senior might purchase for basic email and internet browsing. appears to be exactly what you'd expect from someone whose technological needs involve reading news websites and maintaining simple correspondence with family members and community organizations. The kitchen, with its 1980s appliances and basic cookware that I've maintained for years, provides perfect camouflage for the sophisticated communication equipment hidden within ordinary household items. The microwave, that appears to be a standard Panasonic model, actually contains advanced encryption hardware for secure communications with investment advisors and financial coordinators throughout the Pacific Northwest and international market. The coffee maker on the counter includes specialized networking equipment that maintains constant connection to global financial data streams and market analysis systems that track portfolio performance across multiple time zones and economic indicators. The bedroom, which family members rarely enter but occasionally glimpse during visits, contains what appears to be typical elderly furniture and personal items that support the narrative of modest retirement living. The simple bedspread from J.C. Penney, nightstand with basic lamp and reading materials, and dresser with family photos create exactly the visual impression that prevents questions about hidden technology or sophisticated business operations that might reveal the scope of my actual financial activities and professional network. Throughout Northern California's venture capital community and technology investment sectors, behind the false panel in my bedroom closet, accessible through a biometric scanner disguised as Robert's old jewelry armoire, a wooden case he built in 1989 for our 25th wedding anniversary, skills learned during his engineering career, lies a command center with enterprise-grade technology that rivals what major investment firms use for portfolio management and market analysis operations. The multiple monitor displays show real-time data streams from NASDAQ and international exchanges including London and Tokyo, and specialized technology sector indices that track venture capital performance, startup valuations, and emerging market opportunities throughout Silicon Valley and the broader Bay Area innovation ecosystem. The quantum encrypted communication systems that connect me to investment advisors, technology sector analysts, and venture capital coordinators throughout Northern California operate on secure networks that institutional investment organizations use for high net worth client coordination and confidential deal flow management. The market analysis algorithms that process over daily transactions while identifying portfolio optimization opportunities, risk management strategies, and venture capital effectiveness provide Morrison Capital Ventures with competitive advantages worth millions of dollars in strategic decision-making and return maximization that enable consistent portfolio growth while maintaining the financial resources necessary to support both family assistance and charitable initiatives across decades of technology sector investment and community development programs. The artificial intelligence systems that coordinate my investment analysis and market prediction capabilities include machine learning algorithms that I personally developed using advanced mathematics principles learned during my doctoral studies at Stanford University combined with practical market experience gained through 45 years of systematic wealth building and technology sector investment that began when Silicon Valley was emerging as a global innovation center. These AI systems process market sentiment analysis, regulatory impact assessment, and competitive landscape evaluation to identify investment opportunities that traditional financial advisors miss, while avoiding risks that destroy portfolios during economic transitions and market correction. The real estate investment coordination that forms a substantial component of Morrison Capital Ventures operations includes luxury residential properties throughout Marin County, commercial real estate developments in San Francisco's south of Market District, and technology sector office buildings in Palo Alto and Mountain View that generate consistent rental income while appreciating in value throughout Northern California's competitive real estate market. The property management coordination that optimizes these investments operates through discrete professional services that maintain complete anonymity while ensuring optimal performance and market positioning that benefits both immediate cash flow and long-term portfolio growth strategy. The venture capital division of my operations houses the startup investment and technology sector analysis infrastructure that has generated extraordinary returns through early-stage funding of companies that became industry leaders in artificial intelligence, biotechnology, renewable energy, and financial technology sectors. The due diligence processes that evaluate potential investments include comprehensive analysis of management teams, market positioning, intellectual property portfolio, and scalability potential that enables Morrison Capital Ventures to identify future industry leaders while they're still seeking Series A funding and growth capital coordination. The technology sector expertise that guides my investment decisions incorporates decades of practical experience with innovation cycles, market adoption patterns, and regulatory frameworks that determine which startups achieve sustainable growth versus those that fail despite impressive initial funding and media attention. The network of technical advisors, industry analysts, and academic researchers that supports my investment evaluation includes some of Silicon Valley's most respected experts in emerging technology, though they know me through carefully maintained professional relationships rather than personal interactions that might compromise operational security or family privacy. But perhaps the most sophisticated aspect of my hidden investment operations is the family financial coordination system that manages Bradley's lifestyle support, educational funding for his children, and inheritance planning, while monitoring his character development and family loyalty demonstration as primary indicators of continued financial assistance and estate planning consideration. This system, which I personally designed through consultation with family psychology experts and estate planning specialists, analyzes family interaction patterns, elderly respect indicator, and crisis response decisions to create comprehensive character profiles that determine which relatives deserve continued financial support versus those whose moral failures justify benefit reduction or complete financial independence. The inheritance planning framework that governs Morrison Capital Ventures' succession and wealth transfer protocols requires ongoing demonstration of family loyalty, elderly respect, and personal responsibility that maintains both individual character development and collective family welfare across economic transitions and social changes that test values and moral foundation worthy of generational wealth stewardship and community leadership. The evaluation criteria that determine inheritance eligibility include respect for elderly wisdom, gratitude for family support, and contribution to family harmony, rather than simply blood relationship or assumed entitlement based on family connection, without character demonstration. The monitoring systems that document family member behavior during routine interactions, crisis situations, and major life transitions provide comprehensive character assessment data that influences not only immediate financial support decisions, but also long-term estate planning and inheritance distribution that could affect multiple generations of family prosperity and community contribution. The discrete observation protocols that track character development, family loyalty, and elderly respect operate through normal family interactions while maintaining complete confidentiality and privacy protection that enables accurate assessment without creating artificial behavior modification or performance rather than authentic character evaluation. As I stood in my cramped Richmond kitchen that Tuesday morning, watching my son casually dismiss my supposed financial struggles with a crumpled $5 bill, I realized that the character assessment protocols that had been documenting his growing disrespect and entitled assumptions would soon need to evaluate whether his behavior warranted the most severe consequences available through estate planning restructuring and inheritance elimination that would provide him with comprehensive education about gratitude,
and the reality that family financial security requires demonstration of character worthy of continued support rather than convenient assumptions about elderly obligation and automatic inheritance based on blood relationship alone. The relationship between Bradley and me that would eventually be corrupted by his Silicon Valley success and growing obsession with professional status had begun with genuine love, intellectual curiosity, and the kind of parent-child bond that creates lasting family strength and academic achievement. During Bradley's childhood, in the 1980s and early 1990s, when Robert was still alive and our modest Fremont home served as the center for extended family gatherings, Bradley would spend entire evenings at our kitchen table working through advanced mathematics problems, learning about logical thinking and systematic problem-solving approaches that I hoped would guide his character development throughout his adult life and professional career in Northern California's emerging technology sector. Those early years were filled with educational projects that taught Bradley practical skills while building our relationship through shared intellectual accomplishments and academic exploration. Robert would involve Bradley in home improvement calculations, measuring angles for deck construction, calculating material quantities for backyard garden redesign, organizing family financial records that demonstrated our systematic approach to wealth building, from modest engineering and teaching salaries to comfortable middle-class prosperity, while I taught him advanced mathematical concepts, scientific research methodologies, and the importance of maintaining intellectual humility that linked current achievements to their foundational learning and community support through mentorship and family guide. The conversations we shared during Bradley's formative years revealed his exceptional analytical intelligence, his curiosity about computer programming and software development, and his genuine interest in understanding the mathematical principles that determined which technology companies achieved sustainable growth and which struggled with scalability despite impressive initial innovation and venture capital funding. When Bradley was 12 years old, he would sit at our dining room table while I graded papers from my community college statistics courses, asking thoughtful questions about probability theory, data analysis techniques, and the statistical methods that helped technology entrepreneurs make informed decisions about product development, market positioning, and resource allocation strategies throughout competitive business environments. The academic values that Robert and I tried to instill during Bradley's childhood emphasized the importance of intellectual integrity, systematic thinking, and the kind of character development that enables people to succeed professionally while maintaining their moral foundation, family loyalty, and community connections that provide meaning and stability throughout career transitions and economic challenges. We taught Bradley that true success required balancing personal achievement with family responsibilities, that elderly wisdom deserved respect and consideration, and that financial prosperity created obligations to support family members and contribute to community welfare, rather than simply accumulating material possessions and professional status that might impress colleagues but failed to build lasting relationships and cultural continuity. The educational support that Robert and I provided during Bradley's elementary and high school years included advanced mathematics tutoring, computer programming guidance, and the kind of consistent encouragement that helps academically gifted students develop confidence and intellectual ambition while maintaining cultural identity and family connections that honor heritage and wisdom. When Bradley struggled with advanced calculus during his junior year at Washington High School in Fremont, I spent countless hours helping him understand complex mathematical relationships, using practical examples from engineering applications and statistical analysis to make abstract principles relevant to real-world technology development that he could comprehend and apply to his college preparation and future career planning and computer science and software engineering. The intellectual development that formed a central part of Bradley's childhood education included age-appropriate lessons about logical reasoning, systematic problem-solving, algorithmic thinking, and the importance of maintaining intellectual curiosity while building knowledge through careful study and mentorship that honored both individual capability and collaborative learning. Robert and I established his first computer programming environment when he turned 13 years old, teaching him to write basic code while watching his modest programs grow through systematic practice and theoretical understanding that demonstrated the power of consistent intellectual discipline and long-term learning strategies that could transform individual curiosity into substantial expertise. The intellectual development that formed a central part of Bradley's childhood education included age-appropriate lessons about logical reasoning, systematic problem-solving, algorithmic thinking, and the importance of maintaining intellectual curiosity while building knowledge through careful study and mentorship that honored both individual capability and collaborative learning. Robert and I established his first computer programming environment when he turned 13 years old, teaching him to write basic code while watching his modest programs grow through systematic practice and theoretical understanding that demonstrated the power of consistent intellectual discipline and long-term learning strategies that could transform individual curiosity into substantial expertise.
The family activities that we encouraged Bradley to participate in throughout his childhood and adolescence included volunteer tutoring at community centers in Fremont and Newark, assisting with church fundraising events for educational scholarships, and helping elderly neighbors with basic computer setup and technology assistance that taught him about the dignity and wisdom of aging while building character through service to others who needed guidance and support. These experiences were designed to develop empathy, responsibility, and respect for elderly community members who had contributed to society throughout their lives and deserved honor and assistance during their later years. When rapid technological change could create learning challenges that required patient family and community support, the college preparation process that culminated in Bradley's acceptance to UC Berkeley's prestigious computer science program represented years of academic guidance, financial planning, and character development that enabled him to pursue higher education with confidence, family support, and clear understanding of the sacrifices that Robert and I made to ensure his educational opportunities while maintaining our modest lifestyle and community involvement. The partial scholarship that supplemented our financial contribution came through community organizations and academic achievement recognition that reflected not only his individual capabilities but also the family foundation and community connections that supported his development and advancement through networks and relationships that honored both merit and family contribution to educational excellence. Transformation of Bradley from a respectful young man who valued family relationships and intellectual integrity into someone whose priorities could be systematically corrupted by Silicon Valley culture and professional networking, that emphasized individual achievement over collaborative contribution and community involvement, had been gradual but increasingly apparent over the past 8 years, since he graduated from UC Berkeley and entered the competitive Bay Area technology sector, where success was measured primarily through salary progression, stock option valuation, and advancement up corporate hierarchies that rewarded personal ambition over family responsibility and elderly respect. The early signs of character deterioration became apparent during Bradley's senior year at UC Berkeley, when his coursework in computer science and software engineering introduced him to entrepreneurial thinking and competitive career preparation programs that gradually convinced him that efficiency and optimization should guide personal relationships, just as they determined software architecture and algorithmic performance, that prioritized measurable outcome over emotional connection and family continuity, that provided meaning and stability throughout life transitions and economic challenges that tested character and values worthy of long-term relationship investment. The internship experiences that Bradley pursued during his junior and senior years introduced him to corporate environments where success was measured primarily through individual technical contribution, quarterly performance review, and advancement opportunities that emphasized personal skill development over collaborative teamwork and community involvement that built social capital and mutual support network. The mentors he encountered in these professional settings consistently emphasized the importance of strategic career planning, personal branding, and calculated networking that treated professional relationships as advancement tools rather than sources of mutual learning, intellectual growth, and collaborative problem-solving that sustained character development and family loyalty throughout economic transitions and social changes. The academic theories that Bradley absorbed during his computer science program included software engineering models that prioritized efficiency over sustainability, optimization over maintainability, and individual coding productivity over team collaboration, and knowledge sharing that honored collective wisdom and institutional memory as valuable guidance rather than outdated burden that interfered with contemporary development methodologies and agile programming practices. His professors, many of whom had limited experience with family-owned businesses or community-based technology development, taught Bradley to evaluate every relationship and commitment according to measurable return on investment and opportunity cost calculations that systematically undervalued the contributions that elderly family members provide through wisdom, emotional support, institutional memory, and cultural knowledge preservation. But perhaps the most damaging aspect of Bradley's college experience was his systematic misunderstanding of the support systems that enabled his educational success and career preparation. The scholarships that reduced his student loan debt, the internship opportunities that provided practical experience and professional networking, and the career placement services that connected him with promising employment opportunities all reflected careful coordination through community organizations and financial assistance programs that Robert and I had supported through volunteer work and charitable giving. Though Bradley interpreted this support as evidence of his individual merit, academic achievement, and technical potential rather than recognizing the institutional assistance that had created his advancement opportunity. The employment opportunity that Bradley secured immediately after UC Berkeley graduation, with TechFlow Solutions, a mid-size software development company specializing in enterprise applications and database management throughout the Bay Area, represented exactly the kind of strategic career placement that enabled promising young engineers to gain experience, build industry connection, develop expertise that would benefit both individual career advancement and regional economic development throughout Northern California's competitive technology markets and innovation networks. The position that seemed perfectly suited to Bradley's educational background, programming skill, and professional ambitions reflected systematic coordination between community organizations and business networks that provided emerging technologists with career development opportunities that wouldn't normally be available to recent graduates without extensive industry experience. Professional networking. The training programs, client relationships, and advancement opportunities that enabled Bradley's rapid progression from junior developer to senior software engineer represented specialized development that most technology professionals received only after years of industry experience and competitive achievement in Silicon Valley's demanding business environment. The salary progression that enabled Bradley to transition from apartment living in Fremont to a luxury condominium in Mountain View, and eventually to his current Marin County mansion, reflected performance bonuses and stock option valuations that were possible because his software development projects consistently achieved superior results through access to professional networks, industry expertise, and technological resources that other engineers couldn't replicate without similar community connections and mentorship assistance that Bradley never recognized as systematic support rather than earned professional advancement, based solely on individual capability and programming expertise. The networking opportunities that connected Bradley with industry leaders, potential employer, and professional development programs represented strategic relationship building coordinated through community business organizations rather than organic career development that demonstrated individual initiative and interpersonal skills. The professional associations, technology conferences, and continuing education programs that enhanced Bradley's credentials and market knowledge were subsidized through community partnerships and professional development initiatives that most software engineers couldn't afford without employer support or personal financial sacrifice that limited career advancement and professional networking opportunities. The client relationships that formed the foundation of Bradley's professional success and promotion opportunities reflected introductions and business development coordination through community networks that connected local technology companies with software engineers who demonstrated both technical competence and community commitment that predicted long-term employment relationships and mutual success. The trust and professional credibility that Bradley earned from clients wasn't simply the result of his individual capabilities or programming expertise. It reflected the carefully managed business coordination and community reputation that made his clients successful while building their appreciation for his technical services and strategic guidance. However, the most significant factor in Bradley's character development was meeting Jennifer Walsh during a professional networking event at the Palo Alto Research Center, where young technology professionals gathered monthly to build relationships and coordinate business opportunities that supported regional innovation and professional advancement. Jennifer's background as a real estate agent, specializing in luxury properties throughout Marin County and Sonoma County, provided her with sophisticated understanding of wealth management, lifestyle optimization, and the social positioning strategies that enabled successful professionals to maintain their status and influence across career transitions and economic changes. Jennifer's professional training in real estate sales and luxury market coordination had taught her to evaluate relationships and commitments according to strategic value, lifestyle enhancement, and measurable outcomes that could be leveraged, influence, social positioning, and financial advancement that aligned with professional objectives rather than emotional fulfillment or family obligation that required time, energy, and financial resources without providing quantifiable returns on investment or career advancement opportunities. Her systematic approach to relationship management consistently excluded individuals and activities that couldn't contribute to lifestyle enhancement or social status demonstration, creating a worldview that prioritized efficiency and strategic positioning over authentic connection and community contribution. The courtship between Bradley and Jennifer that developed over 2 years of professional networking and social activities revealed a worldview that prioritized measurable lifestyle outcomes, strategic social positioning, and career advancement coordination over relationships, tradition, and the unmeasurable contributions that elderly family members provide through emotional support, historical perspective, and institutional memory that connects current generations to their cultural heritage and community roots. Jennifer's influence on Bradley's thinking about family relationships had been particularly damaging because her apparent sophistication and professional success provided seemingly authoritative validation for attitudes that prioritized convenience and image management over family loyalty and intergenerational responsibility. The relationship dynamics that Jennifer established with Bradley consistently minimized the importance of family obligations and elderly care responsibilities, while maximizing focus on professional networking, lifestyle enhancement, and social positioning that demonstrated their material success and career advancement. Their conversations about family planning, financial management, and lifestyle optimization revealed systematic calculation about elderly care obligations that treated family support as budgetary line items rather than expressions of love and respect that maintained cultural continuity and provided meaning throughout life transitions and aging processes that required family involvement and community support. The influence operations that Jennifer conducted to reshape Bradley's understanding of family relationships and social responsibility were sophisticated psychological manipulation techniques that exploited his natural ambition while systematically undermining his connection to cultural heritage, family value, and community involvement that had previously provided meaning and stability throughout his educational and professional development. Her suggestions about optimizing family time, streamlining elderly care responsibility, and professionalizing financial support for aging relatives consistently reinforced Bradley's growing impatience with family obligations that interfered with career networking and social advancement opportunities that required strategic time management and resource allocation. The lifestyle changes that Jennifer introduced into Bradley's daily routine and social activities systematically prioritized image management, status demonstration, and social positioning over authentic relationship building, community involvement, and the kind of character development that enables people to succeed professionally while maintaining their moral foundation and family connections that provide stability and meaning throughout economic transitions and life challenges. The social entertainment that Jennifer organized consistently excluded elderly family members and focused on experiences that reinforced their identification with successful professional couples rather than multi-generational family systems that valued wisdom and experience alongside innovation. The financial planning strategies that Jennifer implemented for their household systematically prioritized lifestyle enhancement, status demonstration, and social positioning over family support, community contribution, and the kind of intergenerational wealth building that enables families to provide security and opportunity across multiple generations. Their investment priorities, discretionary spending patterns, and charitable giving decisions consistently favored causes and organizations that enhanced their social status while reducing support for family members and community organizations that had previously received Bradley's time, attention, and financial contribution. But perhaps the most destructive aspect of Jennifer's influence was her systematic efforts to isolate Bradley from family members and community connections that might challenge her values or question her priorities. Her scheduling of important events that conflicted with family gathering, her creation of social obligations that required Bradley's attention during traditional family time, and her subtle criticism of cultural traditions and family customs represented coordinated strategy to weaken Bradley's connection to his heritage while strengthening his dependence on her approval and social validation that positioned her as essential to his lifestyle management and professional success. The specific incidents that documented Bradley's transformation from a loving son who respected elderly wisdom into someone whose priorities reflected Jennifer's influence and social positioning obsessions included his systematic reduction of family visit frequency from weekly dinners to monthly obligations, his growing impatience with my supposed technology limitations and financial management needs, and his increasingly condescending attitude toward my community college background and modest retirement lifestyle that he began to view as embarrassing reminder of his humble origins rather than foundation for his educational and professional opportunity. The holiday coordination that revealed Bradley's changing priorities occurred during Christmas 2022, when Jennifer scheduled a skiing vacation in Lake Tahoe that conflicted with our traditional family gathering, requiring Bradley to choose between expensive social entertainment and family obligation that honored elderly tradition and cultural continuity. His decision to prioritize the skiing trip while sending me a brief text message explanation demonstrated systematic devaluation of family relations in favor of lifestyle experiences that enhanced his social positioning and professional networking opportunities with Jennifer's affluent social circle. The emergency response assessment that provided comprehensive documentation of Bradley's character deterioration occurred during my supposed medical crisis in March, when I contacted him about assistance with urgent prescription medication, coordination, and transportation to a specialist appointment that required family support and elderly care attention, which prioritized his work schedule and suggested that I find alternative transportation solutions or reschedule for a more convenient time, revealed complete transformation from the caring son who had once prioritized family needs above professional convenience and social obligation.
The systematic elderly dismissal that characterized Bradley's behavior throughout 2023 included his growing impatience with my questions about technology, his condescending explanations, appropriate elderly lifestyle management, and his suggestions about senior living facilities that might provide more suitable social environments and age-appropriate activities, rather than depending on family assistance for basic needs and community connection. His language consistently treated my supposed limitations as burdens rather than natural aging processes that deserved family support and elderly respect, that honored lifetime contributions and wisdom accumulated through decades of experience and service. As Jennifer's influence over Bradley's values and priorities became increasingly apparent through his changed behavior toward family gatherings, elderly care responsibilities, and community involvement, I realized that the character assessment protocols that protected Morrison Capital Ventures operations from financial disruption would soon need to be applied to my own family members, whose transformation threatened not only their eligibility for continued financial support, but also their access to the inheritance and financial security that had enabled their prosperity and social advancement throughout their professional development and lifestyle establishment in Marin County's competitive real estate markets and affluent social network. The monitoring systems that I had been operating discreetly through normal family interactions provided comprehensive documentation of Bradley's systematic disrespect, growing entitlement, and character failures that violated every principle upon which Morrison Capital Ventures had been established to support family members who demonstrated elderly respect, family loyalty, and community responsibility, worthy of continued financial assistance and inheritance consideration across generations of family development and technological innovation that honored both individual achievement and collective family welfare throughout changing economic and social circumstances. The systematic financial dependency assessment that I initiated in January 2024 to evaluate Bradley's complete reliance on Morrison Capital Ventures support systems would provide the comprehensive documentation necessary to determine whether his character failures warranted immediate inheritance restructuring, or if intervention opportunities might address his moral deterioration before requiring more severe consequences that could permanently alter his family's financial security and social positioning within Marin County's affluent professional community. The assessment protocols that I implemented through discrete monitoring and financial analysis would reveal the devastating scope of Bradley's dependency on investment income, real estate coordination, and lifestyle support that he had never suspected originated from his supposedly impoverished mother's sophisticated wealth management operation. The preliminary financial analysis that I conducted throughout January and February 2024 documented every aspect of Bradley's lifestyle that depended on Morrison Capital Ventures coordination. From the mortgage assistance that enabled his $2.3 million Marin County mansion purchase to the private school tuition payments for his children, Emma and Lucas, at Branson Academy, where annual costs exceeded Valesarigesteld, poor child, while providing elite educational opportunities that positioned them for Ivy League university admission and professional advancement in competitive fields like technology and biomedical research that required substantial family financial backing throughout extended educational preparation and career development. The mortgage coordination analysis revealed that Bradley's ability to qualify for and maintain his luxury home loan depended entirely on income supplementation and credit enhancement that I provided through carefully structured investment distributions and employment benefit coordination that appeared to reflect his professional success at Metacorp Technologies, while actually representing systematic financial support that enabled him to achieve homeowner qualification standards that would normally require dual high-income professionals or substantial inherited wealth that most Bay Area technology workers couldn't access without family assistance or exceptional career advancement. The detailed examination of Bradley's mortgage application documents property tax assessment, and homeowners insurance coordination, revealed systematic financial engineering that I had orchestrated through multiple investment vehicles and professional networks to ensure his loan approval and ongoing payment capability. The debt-to-income ratios that qualified him for favorable mortgage terms included carefully managed investment income streams that supplemented his Medicorp salary while maintaining complete anonymity through trust arrangements and charitable foundation distributions that prevented detection of family financial assistance by lending institutions or professional colleagues who might question his individual financial capability. The property maintenance and enhancement coordination that enabled Bradley's home to maintain its market value and social positioning within Marin County's competitive luxury real estate market represented ongoing financial support that extended far beyond initial purchase assistance. The landscaping services that maintained his elaborate garden and outdoor entertainment areas, the home improvement projects that upgraded kitchen appliances and bathroom fixture, and the seasonal maintenance coordination that protected his investment value, all operated through discrete service arrangements that I coordinated while Bradley assumed these expenses reflected normal homeowner responsibilities that his professional income could sustain. The private education analysis that documented my systematic support of Emma and Lucas's elite academic preparation revealed the comprehensive scope of financial coordination that enabled their enrollment at Branson Academy, where tuition represented only a fraction of total educational expenses that included specialized tutoring, college preparation programs, athletic equipment and training, musical instrument instruction, and the extensive extracurricular activities that distinguished elite private school students during competitive university admission processes that required demonstrated excellence across multiple academic and cultural domains. The tuition payment coordination that I maintained through Branson Academy Financial Aid and Scholarship Administration revealed sophisticated planning that positioned Emma and Lucas for optimal educational outcomes while maintaining complete anonymity regarding funding sources that enabled their access to elite educational opportunities. The merit-based scholarships that reduced their apparent tuition obligations actually represented carefully structured charitable giving through Morrison Capital Ventures that supported institutional development while benefiting family members through need-based assistance programs that honored both academic achievement and family financial circumstances. The supplemental educational support that extended beyond basic tuition included specialized academic tutoring in advanced mathematics and science that prepared Emma for potential STEM career paths, private college counseling that optimized her university application strategy, and the extensive test preparation coordination that positioned both children for exceptional essay and advanced placement examination performance that would distinguish their applications during competitive admission processes at prestigious universities throughout California and the broader West Coast academic community. The lifestyle coordination analysis revealed systematic support for Jennifer's real estate career development and social positioning that enabled her professional success while maintaining the family's affluent image within Marin County's competitive business network. The professional development expenses that enhanced Jennifer's credentials and market expertise, the marketing coordination that promoted her luxury property specialization, the networking event participation that connected her with high-net-worth clients, all depended on financial support and business development assistance that I provided through discrete professional networks and community business organizations. The vehicle coordination that enabled Bradley's family to maintain multiple luxury automobiles represented another dimension of financial dependency that extended beyond their apparent professional income capabilities. The lease arrangements for Jennifer's BMW X5 and Bradley's Tesla Model X, combined with the comprehensive insurance coverage and maintenance coordination that protected these investments, required systematic financial planning and credit management that I coordinated through investment income distributions and employment benefit supplementation that maintained their transportation capabilities while supporting their professional image requirements. The vacation and entertainment coordination that characterized Bradley's family lifestyle represented substantial ongoing expenses that required careful financial planning and coordination beyond typical technology professional capabilities. The annual family vacations to destinations like Hawaii, Europe, and luxury ski resorts in Colorado, combined with frequent weekend trips to wine country and cultural events throughout the Bay Area, demonstrated consumption patterns that exceeded their apparent household income, while maintaining social positioning that supported both Bradley's professional networking and Jennifer's real estate client development activity. The emergency financial preparedness assessment that I conducted revealed Bradley's complete lack of independent financial reserves or crisis management capabilities that would enable his family to maintain their lifestyle during economic downturns, professional transition period, or unexpected medical expenses that could threaten their financial stability without continued Morrison Capital Ventures support. The analysis of their personal savings accounts, retirement planning contributions, and insurance coverage revealed systematic dependency on external financial coordination that they had never recognized as family assistance, rather than earned financial security. The debt management analysis documented Bradley's growing credit utilization and financial obligations that reflected lifestyle inflation beyond his Medicorp salary capabilities, including credit card balances that suggested monthly expenditures exceeding income. Home equity utilization for luxury purchases and travel expenses, and consumer loan obligations for vehicle purchases and home improvement projects that required ongoing financial assistance to maintain acceptable debt service ratios and credit score maintenance. The investment coordination assessment revealed that Bradley's personal portfolio and retirement planning accounts contained substantially more value than his individual contributions and employer matching could generate, reflecting systematic additional funding that I provided through careful structured transfers and gift coordination that enhanced his long-term financial security while maintaining complete anonymity regarding funding sources and family financial assistance that enabled his wealth accumulation beyond typical technology professional capability.
But perhaps the most significant finding of my financial dependency assessment was the comprehensive scope of professional networking and career advancement support that I had provided through business relationships and industry connections that enabled Bradley's progression from junior software engineer to senior technical lead at Medicorp Technologies. The professional references that supported his initial hiring, the project assignments that demonstrated his capabilities, and the promotion opportunities that advanced his career all reflected systematic coordination through community business networks, rather than individual merit and professional achievement alone. The crisis scenario planning that I initiated in March 2024 involved comprehensive evaluation of potential intervention strategies versus immediate consequence implementation that would either provide Bradley with rehabilitation opportunities or deliver the educational justice that his character failures demanded. The planning process required careful consideration of family impact, community education value, and long-term character development outcomes that would either restore Bradley's moral foundation or demonstrate to other family members and community observers the inevitable consequences of elderly disrespect and family loyalty failure. The intervention option assessment included potential approaches for character rehabilitation that might address Bradley's entitled attitudes and restore his appreciation for family support and elderly wisdom through structured learning experiences and community service requirements. These intervention possibilities included mandatory volunteer work with elderly populations, family counseling coordination that addressed relationship dynamics and intergenerational respect, and financial literacy education that would reveal the scope of family support he had received, while building genuine appreciation for generational wealth, building, and community contribution. The immediate consequence planning involved comprehensive evaluation of inheritance, restructuring options, financial support elimination protocols, and community education opportunities that would provide both justice for Bradley's character failures and broader learning experiences for family members and community observers who might benefit from understanding the relationship between care demonstration and continued financial support throughout family wealth management and estate planning coordination. The inheritance restructuring analysis revealed multiple options for redirecting Bradley's expected $5.2 million inheritance toward charitable organizations that supported elderly care, family counseling, and character development programs throughout Northern California. The legal frameworks that governed these restructuring options included charitable remainder trust arrangements, educational scholarship endowment, and community development initiatives that would honor Robert's memory, while providing lasting benefit to individuals and families who demonstrated the values and character worthy of financial support and community investment. The financial support elimination protocols included systematic review of all Morrison Capital Ventures assistance that currently enabled Bradley's lifestyle, professional advancement, and family financial security. The elimination process would require careful coordination to ensure appropriate legal compliance, while maximizing educational impact and community awareness that would document the consequences of character failure and elderly disrespect throughout Bay Area professional networks and social community. The community education planning involved strategic consideration of public awareness opportunities that would provide broader learning experiences about family loyalty, elderly respect, and the relationship between character demonstration and inheritance eligibility across multiple generations of family development. The education coordination would include professional networking events, community organization presentations, and media coverage that might inspire other families to evaluate their own intergenerational relationships and character development priorities. The timing coordination for potential consequence implementation required careful evaluation of optimal circumstances that would maximize both justice delivery and educational impact, while ensuring appropriate documentation and community awareness that would prevent future character failures and encourage family loyalty demonstration throughout Northern California's affluent professional communities. The timing analysis included consideration of seasonal factors, professional networking cycles, and family gathering opportunities that would provide perfect documentation and witness coordination. The legal preparation that supported both intervention and consequence options included comprehensive consultation with estate planning attorneys, family counseling specialists, and charitable foundation administrators who could provide expertise and implementation support while maintaining complete confidentiality and operational security throughout any character rehabilitation or inheritance restructuring process. The legal framework development ensured full compliance with California inheritance law, tax optimization strategies, and charitable giving regulations that would protect Morrison Capital Ventures operations while achieving optimal educational outcomes. The technology infrastructure preparation that would support comprehensive documentation of Bradley's character assessment and consequence implementation included enhanced monitoring capabilities, communication systems for coordinating professional network, and evidence preservation protocols that would maintain detailed records of character failure demonstration and justice delivery coordination. The technology systems would ensure optimal documentation while maintaining privacy protection and operational security throughout any intervention or consequence implementation process. The professional network coordination that would support either intervention or consequence implementation included systematic communication with business leaders, community organizations, and educational institutions that might participate in character rehabilitation programming or community education initiatives that demonstrated the relationship between moral foundation and continued financial support throughout family wealth management and generational planning coordination. The family communication planning that prepared for either intervention delivery or immediate consequence implementation included strategic evaluation of appropriate notification methods, witness coordination, documentation protocols that would ensure optimal educational impact, while maintaining family relationship possibilities for future character rehabilitation and moral foundation restoration. The communication strategy would balance justice delivery with potential reconciliation opportunities that honored both accountability and family love throughout character development and relationship healing processes. the psychological preparation that equipped me for the emotional challenges implementing either intervention or severe consequences included consultation with family dynamics specialists and grief counseling professionals who provided guidance for managing the complex emotional processes involved in holding family members accountable for character failures, maintaining hope for potential rehabilitation and relationship restoration that could honor both justice and love throughout difficult family transition periods. The financial coordination that supported both intervention and consequence options included comprehensive portfolio management, would enable either continued family support during character rehabilitation or systematic elimination of financial assistance that would provide educational consequences while protecting Morrison Capital Ventures operations and community charitable obligations throughout any family restructuring and inheritance planning modifications. As winter transitioned into spring 2024, the character assessment documentation that I had been accumulating provided increasingly comprehensive evidence of Bradley's moral deterioration and systematic disrespect that threatened not only his inherited eligibility, but also his potential for character rehabilitation through intervention programming. The monitoring systems revealed accelerating entitled attitudes, growing dismissiveness toward my supposed financial limitation, and increasing alignment with Jennifer's values that prioritized social positioning over family loyalty and elderly respect, worthy of continued financial support and inheritance consideration. The specific incidents that occurred throughout March and April 2024, Bradley's character failures, and created optimal circumstances for either intervention delivery or immediate consequence implementation that would address his moral bankruptcy, while providing community education about the relationship between character demonstration and family financial support throughout generational wealth transfer and estate planning coordination. The grocery store incident that would ultimately trigger my decision between intervention and immediate consequences began developing through several preliminary interactions that revealed Bradley's systematic preparation, treating my financial needs as burdensome obligations rather than family support opportunities that honored intergenerational relationships and elderly care responsibilities. The pattern of behavior that emerged throughout April 2024 suggested strategic coordination between Bradley and Jennifer minimize their elderly care obligations while maximizing their lifestyle enhancement and social positioning priorities that excluded family responsibility and community contribution. The Easter gathering that occurred at Bradley's Marin County home in March 2024 provided comprehensive documentation of his systematic efforts to minimize my participation in family celebrations while managing his professional image and social positioning with Jennifer's affluent social network. The invitation that arrived 2 days before the event, the seating arrangements that positioned me away from Jennifer's friends and business associates, and the conversation topics that excluded elderly input while focusing on professional achievements and lifestyle enhancement revealed systematic family management that treated my presence as obligation rather than honor and celebration. The Mother's Day coordination that followed Easter demonstrated Bradley's growing impatience with family traditions and cultural celebrations that required time and attention away from professional networking and lifestyle optimization. The perfunctory card that arrived through mail delivery rather than personal presentation, the gift selection that reflected minimal thought and financial investment, and the absence of invitation for family gathering or celebration meal revealed systematic devaluation of elderly appreciation and cultural recognition that honored maternal contribution and family foundation throughout child development and professional advancement. The telephone communication patterns that characterized Bradley's interaction with me throughout April 2024 revealed systematic reduction in frequency and duration that treated elderly conversation as inconvenience rather than family connection and relationship maintenance. The conversations that did occur focused primarily on my supposed technology limitations and financial management needs, while excluding genuine interest in my welfare, community activity, or personal thoughts about family development and grandchildren education that might have demonstrated authentic care and elderly respect worthy of continued financial support. The preliminary crisis that occurred during the third week of April, when I contacted Bradley about assistance with supposed prescription medication, coordination, and transportation to a medical appointment, provided comprehensive documentation of his systematic prioritization of professional convenience over family emergency response that revealed moral failure, character deterioration, worthy of immediate consequence implementation rather than intervention opportunities that might address his entitled attitudes through rehabilitation program. Bradley's response to my supposed medical emergency included suggestions that I coordinate with community services for elderly transportation and schedule appointments during business hours when professional assistance would be available, demonstrating complete disconnection from family responsibility and elderly care obligations that honored lifetime parental contribution and sacrifice throughout child development and educational support. His recommendation that I investigate senior living facilities that provide comprehensive medical coordination and transportation services revealed systematic efforts to transfer elderly care responsibility to institutional providers rather than maintaining family involvement and intergenerational support. The character assessment data that accumulated throughout April 2024 provided irrefutable evidence that Bradley's moral foundation had deteriorated beyond rehabilitation potential through intervention programming, while his systematic disrespect and entitled assumptions created perfect justification for immediate consequence implementation that would provide both educational justice and community awareness about the relationship between character demonstration and inheritance eligibility throughout family wealth management and generational planning coordination. As I prepared for the final character assessment opportunity that would determine Bradley's inheritance eligibility and continued financial support, I realized that the grocery store interaction that would occur during the first week of May 2020 moral bankruptcy and justify the most comprehensive consequences available through Morrison Capital Ventures governance and estate planning restructuring that would transform his comfortable assumptions about automatic inheritance into devastating education about respect, gratitude, and family loyalty, worthy of generational wealth transfer and community leadership throughout Northern California's affluent professional networks and social community. The sophisticated technological infrastructure that I had been operating for 38 years, from within my carefully maintained cover identity, in Richmond, represented one of the most advanced private wealth management and family coordination systems on the West Coast. Built through systematic development of investment intelligence capabilities, behavioral analysis protocols, and family loyalty evaluation frameworks that enabled comprehensive beneficiary oversight while maintaining complete operational secrecy and privacy protection that preserved both family relationships and financial empire integrity across multiple generations of venture capital coordination and technology sector investment throughout Northern California's evolving innovation landscape and competitive business environment. The quantum encrypted servers humming quietly behind the false wall panel in my bedroom closet, disguised as Robert's vintage electronics cabinet that any modest retirement apartment would contain for storage and sentimental value, processed over 1,000 daily financial transactions throughout North America, European markets, and Asian exchanges, while maintaining real-time communication with portfolio management systems, family monitoring networks, and character assessment databases that determined financial support eligibility and inheritance iteration across 2 family branches and 8 individual beneficiaries whose lifestyle security depended entirely on systems they had never suspected existed beneath their elderly relatives' humble retirement lifestyle and community volunteer activity. The holographic display system that emerged from what appeared to be my basic television entertainment center provided 3-dimensional visualization
of investment portfolio performance, venture capital opportunity analysis, technology sector trend evaluation, family member dependency patterns that enabled me to identify emerging market opportunities 18 months before they became apparent to traditional institutional investors and wealth management firms. The system's ability to model complex economic scenarios, including regulatory impact assessment, competitive landscape analysis, and market disruption prediction, gave Morrison Capital Ventures strategic advantages worth tens of millions of dollars in predictive investment positioning and risk management decisions that shaped portfolio performance and financial security across economic transitions and technological innovations. The biometric security systems protecting my wealth management operations center included facial recognition, voice pattern analysis, retinal scanning, and DNA verification capabilities that institutional investment firms and government agencies, for their most sophisticated financial operations and classified information protection protocol. The emergency destruction procedures embedded throughout my Richmond apartment could initiate complete data elimination and operational transfer within 43 seconds if unauthorized access was detected, while simultaneously transferring all management control to backup command centers in Palo Alto, San Francisco, and Monterey that maintained identical capabilities and could assume full portfolio administration without interrupting beneficiary support or compromising financial security for family members who depended on quarterly distributions and emergency assistance coordination. But perhaps the most sophisticated aspect of my technological infrastructure was the AI-powered family character assessment system that monitored behavioral patterns, crisis response indicator, and intergenerational respect demonstration as primary predictors of long-term family stability and inheritance worthiness. This system, which I personally designed through consultation with behavioral psychology experts and family dynamics specialists from Stanford University and UC Berkeley, analyzed communication patterns, emergency response decisions, elderly care priority, and family loyalty demonstration to create comprehensive character profiles that determined eligibility for continued financial benefits and potential inheritance consideration based on authentic moral foundation rather than convenient performance during family obligations and social expectations. The artificial intelligence algorithms that coordinated my behavioral analysis capabilities included machine learning systems that I developed using advanced mathematical modeling principles learned during my doctoral studies at Stanford University in the 19th. Dynamics experience gained through 45 years of systematic wealth building and character evaluation that began when Silicon Valley was emerging as a global technology center and venture capital coordination was transitioning from traditional financial institutions to innovative private equity approaches that emphasized both financial returns and social impact throughout community development and family prosperity. The Morrison Capital Ventures operational structure carefully designed through consultation with premier technology sector attorneys and family office specialists to maintain both investment effectiveness and legal compliance across multiple California jurisdictions, included 47 subsidiary entities that provided specialized services to family members, educational institutions, technology startups, and community development initiatives throughout Northern California and extending into Oregon and Washington communities, where beneficiaries established careers and built families with support from financial systems they had never recognized or acknowledged as coordinated assistance rather than individual achievement and professional success. The primary investment division housed the portfolio management and market analysis infrastructure that had generated consistent returns averaging 14.3% annually for 38 consecutive years, building wealth through strategic equity selection, venture capital participation, technology sector speculation, and alternative investment strategies that enabled a starting portfolio of $127,000 in 1986 to grow into the $47 million empire that currently provided financial security and opportunity for multiple family branches, while maintaining sufficient reserve capital, weather economic downturns and support emergency needs, across decades of market volatility and technological transitions that challenged traditional investment approaches and family financial planning. The venture capital coordination that formed the cornerstone of Morrison Capital Ventures operations included early-stage funding relationships with over 200 technology companies throughout Silicon Valley, including pre-IPO investments in firms that became industry leaders in artificial intelligence, biotechnology, renewable energy, financial technology, and social media platforms that generated extraordinary returns while supporting technological innovation and community economic development throughout the Bay Area innovation ecosystem. The due diligence processes that evaluated potential investments included comprehensive analysis of management teams, intellectual property portfolios, market positioning strategy, and scalability potential that enabled identification of future industry leaders while they were still seeking Series A funding and strategic partnership coordination. The technology sector expertise that guided my investment decisions incorporated decades of practical experience with innovation cycles, market adoption patterns, regulatory framework, and competitive dynamics that determined which startups achieved sustainable growth versus those that failed despite impressive initial funding and media attention. The network of technical advisors, industry analysts, and academic researchers that supported my investment evaluation included some of Silicon Valley's most respected experts in emerging technologies, venture capital coordination, and technology transfer from university research programs to commercial application. Though they knew me through carefully maintained professional relationships rather than personal interactions that might compromise operational security or family privacy. The real estate investment portfolio that provided stable income streams and inflation protection included luxury residential properties throughout Marin County, Napa Valley, and Santa Cruz County, commercial real estate developments in San Francisco's South of Market District and Palo Alto Research Corridor, and technology sector office buildings in Mountain View and Menlo Park that generated consistent rental income while appreciating in value throughout Northern California's competitive real estate market. The property management coordination that optimized these investments operated through discrete professional services that maintained complete anonymity while ensuring optimal performance and market positioning that benefited both immediate cash flow and long-term portfolio growth strategy. The municipal bond investments that provided tax-advantaged income streams included Northern California infrastructure projects, educational facility development throughout the UC and CSUs, and community improvement initiatives that aligned with Morrison Capital Ventures' charitable mission, while generating steady returns and supporting regional economic development. The bond portfolio coordination that balanced income generation with community impact-enabled foundation operations to support both family beneficiary needs and broader charitable giving that strengthened communities and built social capital throughout the Bay Area and Central Valley region. The international investment diversification that protected portfolio assets against domestic economic volatility included European technology markets, Asian growth opportunities, and emerging market investments that provided currency diversification and global economic exposure. The international portfolio management that coordinated these investments operated through Swiss banking relationships, London financial institutions, and Singapore wealth management firms that maintained strict privacy protocols while ensuring optimal performance and regulatory compliance across multiple jurisdictions and economic systems. The cryptocurrency and digital asset coordination that represented Morrison Capital Ventures' most sophisticated investment frontier included early adoption of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and specialized blockchain technologies that supported both portfolio diversification and technology sector innovation. The digital asset management systems that I developed personally included proprietary trading algorithms, security protocol, and market analysis capabilities that enabled participation in cryptocurrency markets while maintaining operational security and regulatory compliance throughout rapidly evolving digital finance regulations and technological development. The Family Support Division provided comprehensive assistance coordination for all approved beneficiaries, including emergency financial coverage, educational scholarship administration, major life event funding, and the specialized character monitoring that maintained family standards, building financial literacy and values education that enabled beneficiaries to contribute to family prosperity while maintaining the moral foundation necessary for sustainable financial relationships and intergenerational wealth stewardship that honored both individual achievement and collective family welfare across economic transitions and social changes. The beneficiary services that Morrison Capital Ventures provided included financial planning consultation, educational guidance, estate planning coordination, and character development support that helped family members navigate life transitions while building integrity and demonstrating loyalty that qualified them for continued foundation benefits and potential inheritance consideration. The programming that we offered through partnerships with financial advisors, family counselors, and educational institutions provided beneficiaries with knowledge and skills that enabled sustainable prosperity while maintaining family connections and elderly respect that preserved foundation eligibility and inheritance potential across generations of family development and community contribution. The educational support programs that operated through foundation coordination included direct tuition assistance for universities and private schools throughout California, scholarship administration for academic achievement and community service recognition, and professional development funding that enabled career advancement and skill building. The educational partnerships that we maintained with Stanford University, UC Berkeley, and other prestigious institutions provided specialized programming and research opportunities while supporting institutional development and community educational access that benefited thousands of students and families throughout Northern California. The healthcare coordination services that Foundation operations provided included comprehensive medical insurance, supplementation, emergency medical expense coverage, and specialized healthcare access that ensured optimal medical care and preventive health management. The healthcare partnerships that we maintained with UCSF Medical Center, Stanford Healthcare, and other premier Bay Area healthcare institutions provided beneficiaries with optimal medical care while supporting institutional development and community healthcare access that benefited thousands of patients and families throughout the region. But perhaps the most strategically important aspect of Morrison Capital Ventures operations was the character assessment and behavior monitoring network that tracked family member interactions, elderly respect decision values demonstration patterns to identify relatives whose character and actions aligned with foundation principles versus those whose moral deterioration threatened their continued eligibility for financial support and inheritance consideration. This monitoring system, coordinated through discrete observation and family interaction analysis, provided early warning indicators of character failures while offering intervention opportunities that addressed moral challenges before they required more severe consequences that might disrupt family harmony and financial security.
The character evaluation protocols that governed foundation beneficiary assessment included comprehensive analysis of family interaction patterns, elderly care decisions, crisis response indicators, and community involvement that revealed authentic values versus convenient performance during family obligations and social expectations. The monitoring systems that documented these behavioral patterns operated through normal family interaction while maintaining complete discretion and privacy protection that enabled accurate assessment without compromising family relationships or creating artificial behavior modification that might obscure authentic character evaluation. The crisis response assessment frameworks that determined foundation support during family emergencies included evaluation of family loyalty demonstration, elderly respect priorities, and community responsibility that revealed character foundation worthy of continued financial assistance and inheritance consideration. The assessment protocols that documented crisis response patterns provided comprehensive data about authentic values and moral foundation that predicted long-term family stability and beneficiary worthiness for generational wealth transfer and community leadership responsibility. The family loyalty evaluation systems that influenced inheritance planning and foundation support decisions included analysis of intergenerational respect patterns, cultural continuity commitment, and elderly care priorities that honored family traditions, while building sustainable relationships worthy of financial stewardship and community leadership. The loyalty assessment protocols that documented family member behavior during important life transitions provided early warning indicator of character deterioration while offering intervention opportunities that could address relationship challenges before they required more serious consequences or foundation support elimination. The community involvement assessment that influenced foundation support decisions included evaluation of charitable giving patterns, volunteer service commitment, and social responsibility demonstration that aligned with foundation mission and community development goals. The community assessed protocols that documented beneficiary involvement in charitable activities and social contribution provided additional character evaluation data that supplemented family interaction analysis and elderly respect demonstration in determining continued foundation support eligibility and inheritance consideration. The relationships I had developed with investment advisors, estate planning, attorneys, and wealth management professionals over 38 years of strategic financial coordination provided Morrison Capital Ventures with expertise and market access that enabled sophisticated portfolio management and beneficiary support, while maintaining complete privacy and operational security that protected family members from knowledge that might compromise their character development or create dependency relationships that could undermine their personal growth and professional achievement, while building authentic prosperity and community contribution. The investment philosophy that guided all foundation operations emphasized sustainable growth, risk management, and generational wealth preservation that served family needs, while building character and moral foundation necessary for continued financial stewardship and community leadership. The policies that governed foundation distributions required ongoing demonstration of family loyalty, elderly respect, and personal responsibility that maintained foundation integrity, while providing beneficiaries with opportunities to earn continued support through character demonstration. Family contribution that honored both individual achievement and collective welfare across economic transitions and social changes. The sophisticated intelligence capabilities that I coordinated through partnerships with family counseling organizations, community leaders, and professional networks enabled Morrison Capital Ventures to identify and prevent systematic family disruption from external influences, manipulative relationships, and character-corrupting factors that threaten beneficiary eligibility, while providing intervention opportunities that protect family unity and foundation mission through appropriate support and guidance that addressed challenges before they required more serious consequences or benefit elimination that could disrupt family prosperity and community contribution. The academic and professional development partnerships that I maintained with financial planning organizations, estate law firms, and family office management companies provided theoretical foundations for our practical innovations in character-based wealth transfer and values-centered beneficiary selection. The specialists and consultants who contributed to our family support strategies through professional consulting agreements had no idea that their work contributed to a privately owned investment empire, believing instead that they were participating in research projects funded by anonymous grants and community development initiatives that supported Bay Area families and educational institutions. The legal framework that governed foundation operations included compliance with California nonprofit regulations, federal tax requirements, and fiduciary responsibility standards that protected beneficiary interests while maintaining operational flexibility and privacy protection. The legal partnerships that we maintained with premier estate planning firms throughout Northern California provided ongoing consultation and regulatory guidance, while ensuring complete confidentiality and operational security that protected foundation mission and family privacy across changing legal requirements and evolving regulatory environments. The tax optimization strategies that maximized foundation resources and charitable impact included sophisticated estate planning coordination, gift tax minimization, and charitable deduction optimization that protected foundation assets while ensuring maximum community benefit and family support capability. The tax planning partnerships that we maintained with specialized accounting firms and estate planning attorneys provided ongoing optimization, compliance coordination while maintaining complete discretion and privacy protection that enabled optimal foundation performance and beneficiary support across changing tax regulations and economic conditions. The wealth management coordination that would expose the devastating gap between Bradley's assumptions about my limited resources and the reality of my hidden financial authority had been developing for months as his character assessment revealed increasingly problematic patterns of entitled expectations, elderly dismissal, and family loyalty failures that threatened his continued foundation eligibility and inheritance consideration, while providing perfect opportunities for comprehensive character evaluation and potential foundation support restructuring that could transform comfortable assumptions about automatic inheritance into educational consequences, respect, gratitude, and family values worthy of continued financial assistance. As I observed the sophisticated technological infrastructure that surrounded me in my modest Richmond apartment, monitoring global markets and family character patterns simultaneously, I realized that the systems that had built extraordinary wealth while protecting family relationships would soon need to evaluate whether Bradley's behavior reflected values worthy of continued financial stewardship or entitled assumptions that violated every principle upon which Morrison Capital Ventures had been established. Support family members who demonstrated character, loyalty, and elderly respect worthy of continued assistance and potential inheritance consideration across generations of family development and community contribution that honored both individual achievement and collective family welfare throughout changing social and economic circumstances. The Tuesday morning grocery store incident that would provide the most comprehensive real-time documentation of character failure and family loyalty destruction that any ungrateful son had ever demonstrated, creating irrefutable evidence that would justify the most severe financial consequences available through Morrison Capital Ventures governance and inheritance restructuring that could transform comfortable assumptions about automatic wealth transfer into devastating education about respect, responsibility, and the reality that financial security requires demonstration of character worthy of continued family investment and support across generations of community development and family prosperity. The preliminary events that led to Bradley's ultimate character assessment began 3 days earlier when I contacted him about routine assistance with grocery shopping and transportation coordination, a request that any elderly parent might make and any loving son would honor without question or complaint. My telephone call to Bradley's office at Metacorp Technologies on Friday afternoon, May 3rd, was strategically timed to occur during normal business hours when his professional obligations would test his prioritization of family responsibility versus career advancement and image management had become his dominant concerns throughout Jennifer's systematic influence and social positioning obsession. Bradley, dear, I began with the patient tone that elderly mothers use when requesting assistance from busy adult children. I'm having some difficulty coordinating my grocery shopping this week. The bus schedule has changed, and I'm not sure I can manage the walking distances with my arthritis acting up. Would you be able to help me get to the store sometime this weekend? The immediate hesitation in Bradley's response revealed his systematic preparation for minimizing elderly care obligations while maintaining the appearance of family concern and filial responsibility. Mom, this weekend is really challenging, he replied with the kind of calculated consideration that demonstrated extensive practice in family management and obligation deflection. Jennifer has scheduled some important client events, and we have commitments with the kids' activity. Maybe you could try one of those grocery delivery services. I think there are apps for that now. The suggestion that I navigate smartphone applications and online grocery delivery systems perfectly demonstrated Bradley's systematic disconnection from elderly capabilities and technology limitations, while providing convenient solutions that eliminated his personal involvement in family care responsibilities. His immediate deflection to digital alternatives revealed both his assumption about my technical incompetence and his prioritization of social convenience over family obligation that honored elderly dignity and intergenerational respect. I'm not very comfortable with those technology services, I explained with appropriate elderly confusion and resistance to digital solutions. Could you perhaps help me understand how they work? Or maybe just drive me to the store for a quick shopping trip. It wouldn't take very long and I'd really appreciate the assistance. The growing impatience in Bradley's voice became increasingly apparent as family obligation conflicted with his weekend planning and social positioning requirements. Mom, we've talked about this before. You really need to learn to use these modern conveniences. Everyone your age is adapting to technology solutions for daily living. Maybe it's time to consider some of those senior living communities that provide comprehensive services and transportation coordination. Dismissal and institutional care suggestions revealed Bradley's strategic planning for transferring family responsibilities to professional service providers while eliminating personal involvement in elderly care that might interfere with his lifestyle optimization and career networking priorities. His recommendation of senior living facilities demonstrated complete disconnection from family loyalty and cultural traditions that honored elderly wisdom, while maintaining intergenerational relationships through practical support and shared experience. I understand you're busy, I replied with the gentle persistence that elderly parents use when family obligations require negotiation and compromise. Perhaps I could coordinate my shopping needs with your schedule. I only need a few basic items, and I could be very efficient with my time and selection. The solution that Bradley ultimately proposed revealed his systematic approach to minimizing family obligation while maintaining minimal compliance with elderly care expectations. Look, Mom, I can probably give you some money for grocery delivery or taxi service. Would $20 cover what you need? That way you can handle your shopping without depending on family transportation, and it might be good practice for becoming more independent with these services. Monetary offer that Bradley presented as generous assistance actually represented the most insulting form of family relationship management, treating elderly care as financial transaction rather than opportunity for personal connection and family bonding that honored parental contribution, sacrifice throughout child development, and educational support. His suggestion that $20 would cover what I need revealed complete ignorance about grocery costs and elderly dietary requirements while demonstrating systematic devaluation of family interaction and shared experience. The weekend that followed Bradley's initial dismissal provided additional character assessment opportunities as I observed his social media activity and family coordination patterns that consistently prioritized lifestyle enhancement over elderly care responsibility. The Instagram posts that documented his family's wine tasting expedition to Sonoma County, combined with Jennifer's Facebook updates about luxury retail shopping in San Francisco, created perfect documentation of resource allocation and priority demonstration that revealed authentic values versus convenient performance during family obligations. The Monday evening telephone conversation that preceded our Tuesday morning confrontation provided final character assessment data. As Bradley's growing impatience with my continued grocery coordination needs revealed systematic preparation for more definitive elderly dismissal and family obligation. Mom, I thought we resolved this grocery situation on Friday, he said with obvious irritation and inconvenience that treated elderly needs as ongoing burden rather than normal family responsibility. I'm still having difficulty with the delivery services, I explained with appropriate elderly confusion about technology coordination, Perhaps you could just stop by briefly tomorrow morning before work. I know you drive past Richmond on your way to the office, and it would only take a few minutes for me to gather what I need. The ultimate solution that Bradley proposed revealed his systematic preparation for definitive family management and elderly care elimination through minimal financial assistance that eliminated personal involvement while maintaining appearance of family support. Fine, Mom. I'll stop by tomorrow morning, but I can only spare a few minutes. I'll bring you some cash for groceries, and we really need to discuss some long-term solutions for your daily living needs that don't require family coordination every. Arrived with perfect weather conditions and optimal timing for comprehensive character assessment and documentation that would determine Bradley's inheritance eligibility and continued financial support through Morrison Capital Ventures governance and family loyalty evaluation protocols. Spring sunshine streaming through my Richmond apartment windows created ideal conditions for the monitoring systems that would record every detail of family interaction patterns and elderly respect demonstration during what would become the most expensive lesson about gratitude and family value that any ungrateful son had ever received. Bradley's arrival at 8:47 a.m. revealed his systematic preparation for efficient family obligation completion and prompt departure that minimized personal involvement while fulfilling minimal compliance with elderly care expectations. His business attire, pressed khakis, button-down shirt, and casual blazer appropriate for Medicorp's business casual dress code, communicated professional success and time management priorities that positioned family interaction as brief interruption in important career advancement and daily productivity coordination. The preliminary conversation that occurred in my apartment entrance revealed Bradley's systematic impatience and obligation management as he immediately positioned himself for rapid interaction, completion, and prompt departure. "Morning, Mom," he said with perfunctory pleasantness that suggested extensive practice in family efficiency and time optimization. "I brought you some money for groceries, but I really can't stay long. Traffic to the office is getting worse, and I have important meetings scheduled this morning." The family interaction patterns that I observed during Bradley's brief apartment visit provided comprehensive documentation of his systematic disconnection from elderly welfare and family relationship maintenance, his distracted attention to smartphone notifications, his obvious discomfort with my modest living environment, and his immediate focus on departure coordination revealed complete transformation from the caring son who had once prioritized family connection over professional convenience and social positioning requirements. "I really appreciate you taking time from your busy schedule," I replied with appropriate elderly gratitude that masked sophisticated character assessment and consequence preparation. "I know how successful you've become at Medicorp, and I don't want to interfere with your important professional responsibilities." The moment that would provide perfect justification for systematic revelation and educational consequences occurred when Bradley reached into his wallet and produced a crumpled $5 bill that he placed on my kitchen counter with casual dismissal that revealed systematic devaluation of elderly needs and family financial responsibility. The gesture itself, tossing currency rather than presenting it respectfully, demonstrated complete disconnection from family dignity and elderly respect that honored lifetime parental contribution and sacrifice. "Here, Mom, this should cover your groceries for the week," Bradley said with confident authority that revealed complete ignorance about grocery costs and elderly dietary requirements. "Maybe try the dollar store this time, since you're always complaining about money being tight. They have decent generic brands that should work fine for basic needs." The systematic elderly humiliation that Bradley delivered while standing in my modest kitchen provided irrefutable evidence of character failure that justified immediate revelation and devastating consequences through Morrison Capital Ventures resource coordination and inheritance restructuring. His casual suggestion that I shop at dollar stores while he maintained his luxury lifestyle revealed moral bankruptcy and family loyalty destruction that violated every principle of intergenerational respect and cultural continuity. You know, Brad, I replied with the patient correction that elderly wisdom provides when adult children finally demonstrate readiness to understand consequences and character assessment. I think there might be some confusion about who has the authority to determine financial management and family resource coordination in this situation. The puzzled expression that crossed Bradley's face revealed his growing awareness that my response suggested knowledge and authority that contradicted his assumptions about elderly limitations and financial dependency. While the attention that our conversation was attracting from neighbors' adjacent apartments created exactly the kind of community education opportunity that would ensure comprehensive awareness of the lesson about respect and character that was about to unfold through systematic revelation of hidden wealth management, authority, and family support coordination. What do you mean, Mom? Bradley asked, with nervous confusion that revealed his systematic preparation had not included contingency planning for elderly resistance or authority demonstration that challenged his dismissive assumptions and family management expectations. Bradley, dear, I replied with gentle correction that would begin his education about respect, authority, and financial reality. I think you should meet the person who has been funding your entire lifestyle, your professional advancement, your children's education, who happens to control your entire financial future. The silence that followed provided perfect documentation of the moment when comfortable assumptions about elderly dependency and family financial limitations collided with the reality of hidden wealth management, authority, character-based inheritance planning that determined family support based on demonstrated values, rather than assumed entitlement or convenient assumptions about generational obligation and automatic wealth transfer. Ladies and gentlemen, I announced to the gathering of neighbors who had been attracted by our conversation and assumed they were witnessing routine family financial planning. My name is Dr. Eleanor Morrison, and I am the founder, principal director, and sole controlling shareholder of Morrison Capital Ventures, an $84 million private equity empire that has been funding Bradley's $2.3 million Marin County mansion, his children's elite private school education, his luxury lifestyle coordination, and building his expected $5.2 million inheritance through 4 decades of strategic investment, while he just told me to shop at dollar stores because money is tight. The comprehensive silence that greeted this announcement revealed the systematic shock that accompanies complete worldview destruction, and the recognition that fundamental assumptions about financial relationships and family authority were entirely wrong. The apartment residents and maintenance staff, who had assumed they were observing normal family budget conversation, suddenly realized they were witnessing the systematic revelation of hidden wealth and family financial dependency that would transform comfortable assumptions about inheritance entitlement into devastating education character requirements and elderly respect. The comfortable lifestyle that enabled Bradley to pursue his technology career, I continued while observing the growing horror on his face as the scope of his financial dependency became apparent, including the mortgage assistance that enabled his luxury home purchase, the professional networking expenses that supported his career advancement, and the comprehensive financial coordination that made his affluent lifestyle possible. Actually represents systematic foundation benefits that require ongoing demonstration of family loyalty and elderly respect as conditions for continued financial support and inheritance eligibility. Bradley's expression revealed his systematic processing of information that challenged every assumption about financial independence, professional achievement, and inheritance entitlement, while demonstrating his complete dependency on foundation systems that required character demonstration, family loyalty, that he had systematically violated through elderly neglect and social positioning priorities that threatened his continued eligibility for any form of financial support or inheritance consideration. Bradley, sweetheart, I said with the patient explanation that elderly love provides when adult children finally demonstrate readiness to understand consequences and character development.
the $5.2 million inheritance that you've been expecting, including the comprehensive financial security that would enable your family's continued prosperity and social positioning, has been managed entirely through foundation resources that I have been coordinating since your birth. The inheritance documentation that I retrieved from my purse and placed on the kitchen counter provided immediate visual confirmation of the financial agreements, investment portfolios, and wealth transfer coordination that governed Bradley's expected financial future, while demonstrating foundation authority and resource coordination that made his inheritance possible through character-based wealth management and family loyalty assessment systems that required elderly respect and family contribution for continued eligibility and inheritance consideration. The systematic dismissal of elderly family members during routine financial interaction, I explained, while Bradley's comfortable assumptions about financial security collapsed around his understanding of reality, represents exactly the kind of character failure that justifies immediate inheritance, restructuring, and foundation benefit elimination, that protects family assets while providing education about respect, loyalty, and the moral foundation necessary for sustainable financial relationships and generational wealth stewardship that honors elderly wisdom while building community prosperity. The Morrison Capital Ventures coordinator who arrived 45 minutes later, Dr. Sarah Chen, whose care assessment reports had documented the escalating problems with Bradley's elderly respect, attitudes, and family loyalty demonstration throughout the past 18 months, brought the official notice of inheritance, restructuring, and financial independence transition that would provide Bradley comprehensive education about the difference between earned prosperity and gifted support that required ongoing character demonstration and family loyalty. Chen announced to the gathering of shocked neighbors who were witnessing the most comprehensive lesson about character and financial consequences that any ungrateful family member had ever received. This notice initiates immediate restructuring of your inheritance allocation and suspension of all Morrison Capital Ventures benefits, including lifestyle support, professional development, assistance, and family financial coordination, pending character assessment review that will determine your continued eligibility for any form of financial assistance based on demonstrated elderly respect and family loyalty. The inheritance redirection notice that arrived by secure courier 2 hours later informed Bradley that his $5.2 million inheritance would be redirected to charitable organizations that support elderly care, family counseling, and character development programs throughout Northern California, ensuring that his previous inheritance entitlement contributes to community welfare, while teaching him that true prosperity requires demonstration of values and family loyalty, rather than simply assuming entitlement to generational wealth based on blood relationship or professional achievement alone. The financial independence coordination that Dr. Chen implemented throughout the following week provided Bradley with comprehensive education about the actual cost of Marin County lifestyle maintenance, private school tuition coordination, and luxury service access that he had been taking for granted, while assuming his comfort reflected personal professional success rather than systematic family support that required character demonstration and elderly respect that honored the wisdom and sacrifice that built generational wealth through decades of careful planning and risk management. The community impact that resulted from Bradley's character assessment and inheritance consequence implementation created lasting education about elderly respect and family loyalty throughout Bay Area professional networks and technology sector communities. The story of how a dismissive son learned that treating his elderly mother with casual contempt could cost him millions of dollars in inheritance became legendary documentation of the consequences that follow when character failures and elderly dismissal threaten family financial security and inheritance eligibility, while demonstrating the foundation principles and community values that govern generational wealth transfer and family coordination. The character rehabilitation program that I offered Bradley as an alternative to permanent inheritance elimination provided him with opportunities to learn about respect, family loyalty, and community values that sustained long-term financial security and family relationships through demonstrated character rather than assumed entitlement or convenient assumptions about elderly obligation and inheritance planning. The rehabilitation requirements included comprehensive community service with elderly populations, family relationship counseling, and financial literacy education that could rebuild his understanding of character and values worthy of foundation, support and inheritance consideration.
But perhaps the most significant consequence was the inheritance restructuring that established the Bradley Morrison Character Development Foundation, dedicated to supporting elderly care programs and family counseling initiatives that teach young professionals about the relationship between moral foundation and financial security. The foundation ensures that Bradley's previous inheritance expectations contribute to community education, providing ongoing reminder that true wealth requires character worthy of generational stewardship and elderly respect that honors wisdom and sacrifice throughout family development and community contribution. The story of how a cruel son learned that dismissing his elderly mother during routine family interaction could cost him his entire inheritance and financial security became the most expensive lesson about respect and family loyalty that any ungrateful relative had ever received. Sometimes the most powerful education you can provide manipulative family members is comprehensive understanding that elderly wisdom and financial authority aren't optional conveniences that disappear when they become inconvenient for personal schedules and lifestyle priorities. Bradley's assumption that he could dismiss me with $5 for groceries transformed into the devastating recognition that he was the one whose entire lifestyle depended on financial systems he had never suspected. The mother he humiliated with pocket change turned out to control not just his lifestyle and career advancement, but his entire economic future, teaching him that respect for aging family members isn't just moral obligation, it's practical necessity for anyone who wants to maintain financial security and inheritance eligibility in families where character determines prosperity and elderly wisdom guides generational wealth management. Remember, family financial security and inheritance eligibility built on genuine character and intergenerational respect create foundations for lasting prosperity and authentic achievement, while elderly neglect and casual dismissal destroy not only family bonds, but also the moral foundation necessary for sustainable financial relationships and generational wealth transfer that honors wisdom and experience alongside innovation and individual advancement that serves collective family welfare and community prosperity across generations. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.